Athletic ability is controversial. Everyone thinks that it's just a genetic gift, but in my opinion, it's something that we build and we can keep. It's a spectrum, and no matter where you start on that spectrum of athletic ability is where you can go from. So maybe you're gifted and you can get even more athletic, or maybe you're not too gifted in athletic ability, but you can get athletic, you can get more athletic at least, and gain the ability to play sports with your friends, do active activities throughout the day, things like that, that most people can't do today. So this video will go over the 3 reasons that we lose athletic ability. And then at the end, I'll give you an overview of how you can start moving back into your athletic self that maybe you had in the youth, or maybe you didn't, and you want to find that athletic self in the future. The first point, or what I call level 1, is lacking structural balance or red tissue imbalance. So that's your muscle tissue. It's also what creates the joint pain that we often experience that keeps us from moving. The first reason that this happens is we sit too much / we do repetitive movements in the workplace. So if you're always sitting, you're always typing, one, your hands are always twisted in, you're always pronated, you never supinated, this becomes a weird motion to do. People who've sat at a desk for long periods of time know that it feels good to kind of like open up like this, because your body is so hunched over and you get used to this position, but it's not a natural movement for you to do. So we lose the ability to open up, maybe swing a paddle. Look at my hands open this way, it's not twisted in. And then when you are twisted in, you get these like weird movements and it starts pulling on your body. Well, the joints get beat up from that. And now, because the muscles are pulling on the body, think of it as like 2 pulleys. So let's say we got the hamstring, quad, calf, and tib right here. So these, the 4 muscles, and the knee is in the center. If the calf's super tight and the hamstring's super tight because you're sitting all the time, you got this awkward pull on the knee constantly, and then eventually you're running or you're doing something and it breaks, and then you're out for months. And once you're out for months, now you got other problems that you're gonna have to deal with. So that first aspect is sitting / doing too much unnatural movement. The second aspect is improper training. So you see often men in the gym, they do their push-ups and they're busting out a bunch of push-ups. And then they look at the pull-up bar and they're like, that's difficult. Well, you're only training half your body. So again, you're now creating an imbalance that's even more intense than just sitting there, because you're training your body out of balance. As this happens, and this occurs very often, you get shoulder pain, you get hip pain because you're squatting all the time, but you rarely work your posterior chain and you're not working the different angles of the posterior chain. All these things come together and now you got imbalanced hips, imbalanced shoulders, and it's changing the way you move as one whole unit. Or you got imbalanced feet because you wear tight shoes all the time, or you don't use your hands, you don't strengthen your flexors, you don't strengthen your extensors of the arm, and now your flexors are always pulling your hands in because you only ever squeeze, create imbalance in the wrist and the elbow. So all these imbalances, again, create problems with the joints, and now we got a lack of movement, and all you do is the movement that pays you because you have to. It's a common problem. The last one is doing repetitive movements. So like I was saying, with improper training, they're doing the same movements over and over again. So it's kind of in that same category. But let's say you're doing repetitive movements. So I had a construction worker that I was working with, and he always would drill with his right hand. So his other hand would be here, and he was in this position. He had neuropathy up this hand worse than he had in this. He had it in both, but he did use both hands. And you get this hand that has a bunch of problems because he's done the same motion over and over again, squeezing with shaking. He's never opened up the hand. Like I was talking about earlier, the extensors are weak in the hand, you get an unequal pull in the wrist and the elbow. You might be getting elbow pain, but if it gets really bad, you start getting the arthritis stuff and things that cause inflammation because the joints are irritated consistently. So all of this comes together. If we fix the red tissue, the muscle tissue in the body, then we're gonna start being more athletic because we can move more often and feel better while we move. So level 2 to athleticism is your springs or your tendons, or what we could call your white tissue. So also in the fascia category. But when you're bouncing, you're jumping like this, there's not enough time for the muscles to completely contract. The muscles are being used, but the tendons are where most of that spring is coming from. So when you're trying to be more athletic, you need some sort of spring to get you a jump on somebody else. If you're trying to jump, if you're trying to sprint, all of that stuff is related to the spring. So the three things that bring people out of being able to use these springs that we're naturally born with, kids have a ton of white tissue compared to the red tissue, is that we just stop using it. We stop jumping, we stop sprinting because level one, or the joints, is imbalanced. So the muscles are imbalanced, not able to create the force to keep you going, even on like a long jog. So your tendons start taking a bunch of the load. It creates a problem in this level of tendons because you're not even going out for the jog. If you were just to jog, your tendons would get stimulus. But when you jog, the muscles are also used, and now you get this knee pain because the muscles are already imbalanced and they're making the problem worse. You're getting more and more imbalanced. So that's why I bring that first one up first, because we need to fix the red tissue before the white tissue can often get enough touches to get fixed. There are different ways to go about it, but this is where I've seen the most success. The second section to this is that you start to rely on it because the muscles get so weak. We stop training the muscles that we just rely on the knees to take the blunt while we're walking downhill, instead of using the fascia and the tendons how it's supposed to and actually springing through life. When you're rolling and then you're pressing through the foot, there's an aspect to it should feel effortless. But if we're not using the body and how the mechanics were meant to, it's not going to feel effortless. So it's not only that we rely on them, but we're relying on them to do the things that we want improperly, which creates problems in the long term of beat up joints or torn ligaments or tendons like Achilles getting torn. All these things come into a cycle. And the last of this one that I see the worst is actually high stress. When people are really highly stressed, they get problems with their joints and things like that. And this gets difficult to talk about because it's like, well, I need to be stressed to get all this stuff done, or that's just how my life is. And I understand that, but sometimes being able to calm down, and that's where exercise can be really good, is it can decrease the stress. But the other thing that's going to stress you is not having good nutrition. That puts your body under a load of stress. So if you have poor nutrition or poor sleep, then this is going to be a bigger problem for you. You're going to find more problems with your joints, and you're going to find more problems with how you move. So if you want to become athletic, then focus on sleep, nutrition, and movement. Those are your main three things. Movement is number one. Actually, sleep could be number one, but I've seen people do really good things with low sleep. If they don't move, I haven't seen them do really athletic things. And then nutrition, I've seen athletes with terrible nutrition, but I've seen athletes who have great longevity have the best nutrition. So if you want to be good for a little bit, then don't worry about nutrition. But if you want the long haul or long-term results, then worry about nutrition a little bit. And the last point of why we lose it and how actually to get it back as well, if you look at all of these, the reason that we're losing it is because we're not doing it. And the reason that we can get it back is because we basically just have to start doing it, is movement. So the last section is movement. What I mean by this, and this is also kind of level 0 as well as level 3, because if you're not doing movement, you're not going to find a purpose to do the level 1 and level 2, actually fix the structure. But if you're doing too much movement, you're going to break down your structure. So that's why it's level 0. You're going to have to start doing it a little bit, see why you want to get back. And then also level 3, because it's the most advanced, it's uncontrolled. The reasons that movement gets messed up is because we're put in a box of left or right-handed, and we're told you're a right-handed person, you're going to do that, or you're a left-handed person, you're going to do that. But that changes how we move. Our body's meant to move and throw with both arms. Usually reality is like, I should be able to throw with both arms and be confident in it, even though that didn't go the right way. But here and then here. It's like, obviously you could see that my left arm is not as accurate as the other one, and it's not going to be perfect every time. But that's also fairly quick throw, and that wall does not bounce straight. Or juggling. Can you juggle? I haven't done 4-ball juggling in quite some time, but I can pick it up and go and do it decently. The reality of that is that both hands work. I've not been put in a box and I have been in the past, but I grew up playing soccer, so I learned the advantages of using both feet. And then I looked at sports like basketball or baseball. It's like, you guys only use one arm. Well, it's because I'm right-handed, I'm left-handed. It's like, we have two arms. We're supposed to use both. One should be better, but we're supposed to use both. So start learning to move with both. The reason that a lot of people stop doing this, and this is the second reason that we lose movement, is the ego. So we have this belief that we have to win, and we're gonna do the best we can to win every single time. If you're okay with losing for a little bit, learning to play left-handed, learning to throw left-handed, you will get a lot better at the movement with your other hand. I don't know why this happens. Well, there's science to tell you why it happens, but it's very deep. We're not gonna cover it in this video. And the thing is, it does happen. You learn to throw with your left hand, you'll get better at throwing with your right hand because you're now reteaching yourself. That's one of the reasons. But overall, think of it in the long term. Maybe you lose a little bit when you're playing a game, but it inspires you to play better the next time. Maybe it makes the game more fun. Maybe it makes you better when you get back, or it will make you better when you get back. So take the ego out of movement and just learn to move and have fun. I know it's a game that you want to win, but learn to swing with your left hand, practice a little bit, and then take it to the court and have some fun. People will have fun beating you, and you'll have fun in the future winning against them with both your hands, because it's kind of embarrassing to lose to somebody's weak hand. So this does connect to children, and children are great movers and great learners. If you look at how children move, they learn really quick and they don't care if they fall on their face. So in the span of like months, it almost seems, they'll just start walking and then it almost looks like they're running. And it's like, the last time I saw you, you're crawling, or not even, you're just being held. And we should learn that fast continually because our brains are bigger than the child's brain, but we stop learning because we get scared of what other people will think, or that we're gonna fall on our face, or this and that. But in general, it shouldn't take super long if you have the structure built of level 1 and level 2. So if you get all these three things together, of you're taking the ego out of it, you're learning dominance or non-dominant, it doesn't matter, you're learning how to use your body, and then you just have fun with it and act like you're a child, you will become a better mover and you'll start enjoying the athletic ability that God's gifted you in any game that you can play or want to play. So if you're curious about what being more athletic looks like, and you think that you can be and you want to be, maybe you think you can't be, and you kind of believe me now after this video, then tap on the link in the description, go through the little application, it's super short, and then book a call, because then we can have a talk and we can see how we can get you the most athletic. Everyone will have a different path, but that's the point, is that everyone has a different path, it's unique, but there's a great outcome and it's fairly similar, you know? Everyone gets more athletic from where they are.